So I will just summarize what we were doing here, because what the guides would like is for you to do this for longer if you are able. So in the preparation steps for the solstice, the second step was teaching about the 3 levels of the heart. So it was teaching about the personal heart chakra, the emerald green, and how this relates to relating with loved ones. The higher heart, which is a relatively new ability in our civilization, which brings humans into a state where they can love each other unconditionally, like the Christ. And as I explained in the preparation session, it's not something that most of us are able to do all the time. When you are able to be in that state all of the time, it means that you have moved into Christ consciousness or unity consciousness, which is what we're heading towards. But what the guides were explaining, that although the one heart is amazing and is our ascended heart center, our work right now is much more with that second aspect of heart, with that higher heart aspect, loving ourselves unconditionally and then loving all other people in particular unconditionally. It is with other people that challenges come in, and I am very aware of what the guides are talking about recently with the corona, that there is all this amazing spiritual stuff happening, but there is a tendency within the awakening tribe to talk badly about the government, about what they're doing, about the unconscious people, about the regulations that are being put in. And of course we don't like it, none of us like it. But if we are irritated or fearful or anxious or feeling helpless and frustrated, then they are succeeding in placing us in a more fear-based vibration. So this is our challenge at the moment, is to do whatever we can do in order to be loving towards ourselves and others, and do whatever we can do to dissolve the fear in ourselves and others. It always starts with number 1. It always starts at home. What we can't do for ourselves, we can't do effectively for others. We then went into a process where we were connected with our higher self, golden angel higher self aspect, through that usual visualization of the wings. And when the guides felt that we were succeeding in holding that angelic higher self frequency and being in a love bubble, then they started the actual exercise, which was like a Sacred Heart meditation, except this time we weren't holding hands with everybody around the planet. We were simply visualizing each other sitting like little awakened Buddhas all over the planet, connected with a golden grid. So this was an awakening light tribe grid. And from that grid, we sent the love, unity, consciousness up into the Ascension Grid. And for those of you who don't know what the Ascension Grid is, the Ascended Masters, the Order of Melchizedek, the Galactic Council are not able to help us in our evolution unless we ask for it. But the Order of Melchizedek, who is overlighted by Kutumi, is a spiritual group who have the permission from the higher dimensions to make adjustments in order to assure a positive outcome for the Earth at this point. In other words, the whole universe and God, Goddess itself have decided that it is not an option that Earth self-destructs. It is an extremely important planet and an extremely important moment of time on the planet where the planet must move into the fifth dimension. There is no choice about that. So at some point where the guides and the Order of Melchizedek perceived that maybe Earth wasn't actually going to hack it because there weren't enough people waking up and there were too many people still trapped in the net of fear and restriction and separation, they were given permission to put this artificial light energy grid of perfect sacred geometry around the planet. It is said that it's about 60 miles, which is about 100 kilometers, I guess, above the Earth, but I'm not quite sure that that is accurate. But just to give you an idea, it's outside of the atmosphere of the Earth, and it is there already. But when we do processes like this, where we're working all together as an awakened tribe from our free will, that is what actually makes a difference to the Ascension Grid. The Ascension Grid truly lights up, and when it's in that state of activation, it pours down a particular energy on the planet that helps to wake other people up. So isn't that an amazing thing to do and an amazing thing to know that we can do that we can send our energy up? And when you do this process in the future, you can do it every single day. I would advise doing it every single day. When you do that process, you are imagining yourself with the other awakeners. You are not doing it alone. So you are seeing yourself in your inner eye as this little bubble of love, this little Buddha, this little Kuan Yin, this beautiful awakened being sitting there like a Buddha in a meditation pose on the earth, connected with all the other awakeners on the planet Earth. And awakeners simply means people who have chosen to awaken enough, to open their consciousness enough to understand that what they're feeding us and wanting us to carry on sheep-like, zombie-like doing is not an option for us. We're the rebels. We're the light brigade. We're the ones who have decided, no, I'm not swallowing that. No, I would never have a vaccination. Nobody can control me. Nobody, no thing, no situation can control me other than I allow them to do it. So that's what it means to be an awakener. It doesn't mean that you have reached some very high level spiritual state where you're meditating every day and you're all loving every single moment of your life. It just means that you've chosen to be awake and you've chosen to progressively open your consciousness. And if you don't understand what the higher dimensions are, or all of the dimensions in fact are all aspects of our consciousness, and as our consciousness awakens, we are able to enter into a certain dimension. So we can move through our own intention into different dimensions. And on another level, the dimensions are actually worlds of existence, and we are moving from the third dimension into the fifth dimension. We are not really having to move into the fourth dimension in order to get to the fifth dimension. We just access that higher echelon of the fourth dimension, which is a gateway to the higher dimensions. And that's one of the things that we were helping our light tribe with today. We were helping them to access the other dimensions, because whenever we activate the Ascension Grid, we always are dissolving negative thought forms and beliefs in the collective consciousness aspect, the lower echelons of the fourth dimension, and we are therefore allowing access to ourselves and the awakening tribe and everybody else into the higher dimensions. So love and thank you for sharing today with me and the guides.